Hey folks, welcome back to the Portable Gamer. Welcome back to Euro Truck Simulator 2, the 1.35 patch, Pro Mods 2.41, and we are in, now last time I said Catania, because I'm an American, but as I got to thinking about it, it's probably Catania, probably. So we swapped trucks. We were in our Madster MAN TGX Euro 6. We are now in this thing. I love it. I love it, except I'm noticing one of my grill panels seems to be a different kind of material, and I don't know if that's just the light hitting it. I can't see that I would make a mistake like that, but then again, I can't see that I would make any kind of mistake at all, even though I do. So this is RJL Scania up front. The accessories are by P8, I want to say. The box on the back of the truck is by Cast and Siberia, and then the trailer on the back, the dolly trailer, is by Cast. Some of this stuff is in the Steam Workshop. Some of it you have to download manually, but you can track it all down. I try to get my stuff through the SCSoft blog, because those seem to be the developer pages, or the equivalent of the developer pages, and you get some proper links and various other things, and you know what I'm saying? It's legit. So, yeah, I somehow got all this working together. And as always, I have no idea how. I have no idea. Right, we are, where are we at? We're in Sicily, and we're going to Italy. If I can get this menu up here, right about there. Yeah, right there. You zoom out a little bit. Not quite that far. There you go. And we are going to Ionnina, which is, it's an inland port. I'll show you on the map. It's an inland port. Or not inland, but you know what I mean? It's on the land. There we go. It's in a little bit. And the other was Thessalonica. Thessalonia. Is that how you say it? No. Everybody says it different. There was a trip over here, but then that would have put us, I don't know, it seems like a longer trip than we want to make. This is going to be mostly Italy, a little bit of Greece. This would have been like 60% Italy, 40% Greece. Let's do all Greece in an episode. We'll go from here, across, and then down to the island. Right. Enough talking, more rocking. Go. Hop in here. Don't need that. Get rid of that. Do need those. We need those. And I think that's everything. What are we hauling? Beverages. That's vague. That's a little vague, don't you think? Right. Brake was already off. We'll turn it off again. We're in gear. Wipers on. Here we go. So what is going on? How's your day going? It's Friday for me. It's Saturday for you. Your weekend started already. I hope it's going great. Mine is, it's going to be low-key. I'm going to be hanging around the condo, probably playing some video games, as you do. But it's going to be a laid-back weekend for me. I have got... let me see. I've got 2 race series going, but maybe a third. You know what? We'll start from the beginning. We'll start from the truck sims. Still no word on Road to the Black Sea, but I'm excited enough and happy enough to have pro mods to play with that I'm okay with no new DLC, and I'm still prowling around the I'm still prowling around the Washington DLC in ATS. Oh. Driving a bit aggressively, I have to say. Let me get myself under control here. I'm having enough fun with the Washington DLC that I'm okay till we get Road to the Black Sea. And who knows when it's going to happen. I thought it would already be here. But I always get the timing wrong on SCS stuff. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. So that is what's going on. The game seems to be holding together, at least the way I have it modded. It seems to be holding together pretty well. I'm really pleased about that. It did patch up to 1.35.1.17 Sierra earlier. That was a couple hundred meg for me. So, yeah, everything is just is good in Truck World. And my mod folder does continue to get thinner. I continue to delete mods or transition them over from downloaded mods to Steam Workshop mods, at which point they're sort of self-maintaining for the most part. For the most part, every now and then you'll see And there's one guy, I want to say Alex D. And Alex D does not update mods, he replaces them. So you'll go in. He does a lot of headlight and lighting mods. You'll go in and you get the red exclamation point. The mod that you were using is gone. Oh dear. Oh dear. Now, what's this guy got? Oh dear. Yep. Okay, sir. Okay, over there. Oh, that was exciting. And our frame rate is tanking. What's going on? I think it's the rain in this town. Whew. Okay, we're rolling again. So that Alex D guy in particular, he doesn't update his mods, he replaces them. But for the most part, workshop mod makers just keep their mods updated, and once you have it in there and running, it's simply a question of, I don't know, sort of monitoring it, checking on it periodically, but there's really no intervention required from you, because the mod maker takes care of all that. But in the meantime, as I'm getting away from that downloaded mod, I don't know, paradigm, whatever you want to call it, dynamic, however you describe it, that's what I was doing, and it's I can see why Steam is as popular as it is. I avoided it for a long time. I thought it was hokey, thought it was a gimmick, but it's well worth it, as you know. So that is Truck Sims. There is a big announcement in Farm Sim World. Seasons is going to drop next Tuesday, just a couple days from now, or this Tuesday, however you want to say it. And I'm really looking forward to that. Although I was under the impression, from what I initially read, I was under the impression that maps would not need a lot of intervention. That maps, for the most part, would work straight away. Now, there's always going to be issues with snow mask, but I thought we had covered the bale rotting issue, because in FS19, finally, we no longer have rain inside vehicles and in barns and sheds and buildings. And what I understood was, because Giants now had that sort of tech, that sort of code available in base game, that you didn't have to go in and manually paint in the areas that were not going to be affected by rain, as you did when you were implementing Seasons in a 17 map, right? In other words, if you put bales in a shed in Seasons, they should theoretically be protected from the rain and they won't rot. Get our cruise control set. But that's not native to either base game or Seasons. You had to go in and manually configure that into a map in Giants editor. Concentrating. Totally. Okay. So I was under the impression that because it no longer rained in buildings in FS19, right, that we were good to go. But it seems that is not the case, and that there will still need to be conversion done of maps in GE by the map maker, or by you as the player, however. But somebody got to do it. Somebody got to do it. And that was, I mean, it's not a big deal. I was told that maps will begin being converted in 2 or 3 weeks. Okay, that's cool. So, I mean, maybe it's not a huge deal to convert a map over. It's just a couple little D's and then it's done. Who knows? But I guess it'll be a couple weeks until things really crank up, and that's fine. It's really, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. It's just one of those things like, oh, okay, wow, there you go. So we'll figure out what to do with Greenwich Valley, and for Tuesday, I'm either going to finish off Fall in Greenwich Valley, or I may do a one-off of one of the other German maps from the mod contest. I don't know. I'll figure out between now and then. So that's what's going on with Farm Sim. I downloaded, I played, and then I got refunded potentially the worst racing game that I've ever played, FIA Euro Truck Racing. That game's a hot mess. I don't know what the developers were thinking. It's Big Ben Interactive that does the WRC, the official WRC series, franchise, whatever you want to call it. And but then they also do Gravel, do they not? Which is totally a cartoon game and just a really silly kind of kids game. So I was under the impression that this would be legit because it was Big Ben and because it had FIA on it in big letters. And FIA typically doesn't sign off on things. You know, they're pretty serious about their brand. They're pretty serious about quality. You think. And then you see this game and it's like, oh, maybe not. So it was just terrible. I saw a comment in the Steam store. Somebody gave it a thumbs up and said Game of the Year 1999, and I think that's about accurate. The physics are terrible, graphics are terrible, the concept is terrible, the execution is terrible, the gameplay is terrible, the license testing is terrible. It is, if it's done, if it's full retail, it is absolutely a hot mess. If it's some kind of like early access, paid early access, then it's only a little bit of a mess. It's not a hot mess, it's just a regular mess. But it is, it's one of the, I was trying to time my refund because I wanted to actually like get into the game and see, you know, when you play a game, you fire a game up and it's like, holy Jesus, this is awful. This is terrible. For me, I want to sort of give it a minute because I think, well, it couldn't be that bad. I must be doing it wrong. I must be getting something wrong about this game because this is, you know, it can't be this bad. It's got to be my fault. And I was trying to play it as deeply as I could, test it as thoroughly as I could before I asked for a refund. I didn't want to ask for a refund too soon, right? Because, like, you know, maybe I'm just doing it wrong. And after, I don't know, 20 minutes or so, it's like, no, I'm not doing it wrong. This game is awful. And it is. It really is. So, that's my take on it. Let me know what you think if you've played it. It's yeah. Anyway, so I jumped in Race Room immediately afterwards to sort of cleanse my palate, get the feeling of that off my brain because it was that bad. And I saw that Race Room had added. I don't spend a lot of time in Race Room, which is a shame because it's a fantastic game, arguably the best sound of any race sim, although Assetto Corsa Competizione sound is pretty awesome. Somewhat off topic, Assetto Corsa Competizione sound is possibly even a bit over the top. It's a lot of clanging and banging every time you shift gears in one of them Blancpain cars. It sounds like somebody's taking a trash bin full of old screen door parts and throwing it down a flight of stairs. It really makes a hell of a bang. And I know GT3 cars are pretty intense, but I don't know if they sound like that. Hang on, let me get wipers off. We'll get our lights off here in a second. I don't have enough thumbs to do everything at once. So I'm not spending a ton of time in Race Room, and when I did get back in, I saw that... Hang on. Too many things going on at once. There we go. I saw that they had added Group C cars, which I guess have been in there for a while. I think I've seen those before, but that's not really my jam. And I also saw they've added some, they're calling it FR90, I want to say. It's a Formula type car. And Race Room is interesting because I believe they have licensing for a lot of official stuff. German touring cars, the BTCC, the WTCM. They have a lot of series in there. But they don't have any type of F1 or FOM licensing. So their Formula cars need to be, like they have Formula America, which is their equivalent of an Indy car. And I guess the way that they steer clear of copyright is that, you know, there are, every Formula One car, every current Formula One car looks different, and yet they all sort of look the same because they're all variations on the same idea, the same theme. And also they're working within certain parameters that FIA, FOM determine. So when a company designs a Formula One car, you know, it's got a wing on the front, it's essentially this type of thing, it's got, you know... Sir? Alright. We are, sir. Alright. Well, I guess we'll just wait and see what happens. So, what I'm saying is that... Oh, there he goes. What I'm saying is I believe that Race Room designs their own Formula 1 car that looks a little bit like every Formula 1 car and yet is not, you know, stealing Ferrari or Silver Arrow or anything, and they're not going to get sued. And they call that their Formula whatever class, Formula X, or in this case, Formula 90. So that has been added. I can't see the light here, so we are going. Okay. We're just going to thread between these two. AI is really having a hard time in Messina today. Right through here. You ain't seen nothing. Right through here. Did not download those. And then I also saw the... Oh, it's trying to say it right. It is the W... Really? It's the European Touring Cars for 2019. There, that's the easiest way to say it. I can't remember the acronym for it, but it's the 2019 cars. I did download those, and then I also saw the Carrera Cup, which has also been out for a while, but I just never bothered to download. So I downloaded the Carrera Cup, and spent, I don't know, probably an hour at Hockenheim, just kind of getting that other sim out of my brain, you know, trying to make things right. So it's tough to make a video game. It clearly it is, because some people really aren't as good at it as other people.
Keep right, then turn right.
All right. What's this guy doing? Oh my goodness. This is a base game city. This is a pro mod city.
Turn right.
All right. We will. All right. We will. And we are going to have to take a ferry. Hopefully everything loads as fast as it did last episode. We'll see how things go. Right. So that's Race Room. What else is going on? I got 2 seasons going. I got a season going in MotoGP 19. I am in MotoGP. We've, let me see. I think we had a 5th place finish. We had a 21st place finish. That's not very good. And then we had a 7th place finish. I want to say we're 11th in the points. And it's, I don't know if I told you about that. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. Let's get our crossing done here, and then I'll tell you what's going on in MotoGP 19. Alright, so we're going to go over here. And we'll just pull right onto the boat. Okay. Put her in neutral. Set the brake. Engine off. Yeah. I love that shutdown sequence. All right, and we're just going, oh, we're going right across the way there. Okay. Now, is there not, no, I can't see it from here. I thought there was a bridge across. Boom. Loaded fast. Holy smokes. I love it. So get this fired up again. Brake is off. Put her in gear. Here we go. So I think I told you this. I won the Moto 2 season. I won the Moto 2 championship. Yay me. At bed, I see a lot of arrows pointing at me. I'm looking for arrows pointing away from me. Yeah, there they are. Concentrating. So I won Moto 2, and the contracts that I got one of them was for I want to say LCR Honda, which is one of the lesser MotoGP teams, and then 3 for Moto 2, and then 1 for Moto 3, which I thought was odd. And also, I could have sworn that was like exactly the same configuration as Bravo 46 was presented with. He's a YouTuber that I follow that races the MotoGP 19 game on YouTube. Same choices that he got, and I thought, well, that's disappointing. It's not generated. It just is a script. But the thing about MotoGP 19 is if you have not advanced to the next session, if you just like in this case, I got to that screen, I picked a team. I picked LCR Honda because it was the only MotoGP team. And then I quit out of the game and went and did something else. Well, when I came back to it, because I had not gone on to a session, it was back on that screen where I get to pick, but there were different teams now. So I quit the game again and came back, and there were more teams, and there was Aprilia, the Aprilia MotoGP team, which is, you know, kind of a dog of a team. They're not very good, but as with the F1 franchise, I didn't want to go with Ducati or Honda, right? Top of the list, and then it's, you know, are you really trying? Are you really whatever? So I went with Aprilia, and they're terrible, and the bike is not developed at all. It needs everything. So I'm okay with my finishes, and my team is happy with me, even though my finishes are not very good. My team is happy with me because I'm exceeding expectations. They want me to grid 10th. They want me to finish 10th or better, and I've been doing that. So, or averaging better than that. 21st is obviously worse than 10th, but you know what I mean. So that is going good, and it's, I guess that's the place that I want to be. Where if I'm on a bike like the Aprilia, which is really not very good, and you know, there's zero chance of an Aprilia rider winning the title. There's zero chance of Aprilia winning the manufacturer's championship, etc. Then I guess I have the AI set right, because I'm not finishing last, but I'm certainly not finishing first. And that's a kind of a shift from gaming, the way gaming used to be, where you always won. You know, eventually you always won. And I guess, you know, if you continue long enough, if you do 2 seasons, if you renew your contract and continue building the bike until it's just an absolute weapon, then maybe you could win a championship on Aprilia. But it will take some significant work. And I'm okay with that. I'm looking forward to that. So we'll do an entire season and see how far we've been able to tune the bike. And if we slow it down a little bit. Slow it down a little bit more. There we go. And we'll see how the bike is after 1 season. But I imagine I'll stay with Aprilia and just build that bike the whole way through, in the same way that we'll stay with Red Bull for more than 1 season on the F1 side. And on that front, I've done 2 races. I've got a second and a third. Qualified on the front row both times, and I have a second and a third. But it took like absolute maximum effort, and could have been a lot worse. I had several cars just a couple seconds behind me, so it's like one bad turn, run wide 1 time, brake too late 1 time and run wide, and a couple of cars are going to zip past you, and you got problems. You know, you're going from 2nd to 6th, just like that. So I think I have that AI set right as well, and it's a little different because in the Williams, you know, the Williams is such a dog. Of course you're going to finish terribly, but with Red Bull being one of the top 3, right? Like, my agent's expectations of me are that I'll grid top 6 and I'll finish top 6, which makes perfect sense because three top teams, 2 drivers each, right? I should be 6th or better. So we'll see how that goes, but same thing, I'm going to continue building the car, although there's really not a lot of improvements you can make that if Mercedes and Ferrari stay the same, there's not a lot of changes you can make without your car becoming like the best in the paddock. So we'll see how that works out. As far as am I just going to really start pulling away from them as far as R&D, or are they going to improve as well, and we'll be battling for the rest of this season and then the next one. So we'll see how that goes. I'm excited about that. Turn signal off, slow it down a little bit, set the cruise control like so, drop the lift axle like so, and here we go. So that is racing. Everything else, holding pattern. There's not a lot going on. I think WRC8 by Big Ben Interactive releases in September. That's the next game that I'm looking forward to. And there's a lot of all those lesser games, no release date on any of them, and I'm beginning to suspect that some of them are just going to disappear. Dead Stick is turning into bit of a controversy. And then the other ones, the Discovery Channel stuff, Alaskan Truck Simulator, and I think the other one they're making is the Siberian Train Simulator. I can take it or leave it. I think it'd be fun to do one episode for the channel, but I don't see me fighting wolves on a weekly basis. So we'll see how that goes. And really, that's it. That's it. Oh, there was a great big patch for F1 2019. And I suppose that's what I've been waiting for, although now I'm in a season in F1 2018, and I hate to leave things half done. You know, when I picked up my F1 2018 season a few weeks ago that I had abandoned last fall, I really sort of, that sort of resonated with me. Like, you know, how did my OCD handle just walking away from this? So I feel like I'll have to at least finish the F1 2018 season that I'm in right now before I jump in F1 2019. But it was a pretty massive patch, pretty comprehensive. And I think one of the biggest things that it did was got the teams where they need to be as far as power and aerodynamics and lap times and various other things. So it could be, because that game's been out for a month, and we're 3 months, 4 months into the F1 season, the real F1 season for 2019, and I'm waiting for my engine braking to slow me down a little bit. If you're wondering what that tone is, it's my speed warning. Yeah, there we go. I guess we're coming down a pretty big hill. The game's been out for a month, and the F1 season has been going on for a few months, and I would guess that the game was done, or at least the numbers that they were going to use were in place a couple of months ago, let's say a month prior to release. And at the time, they didn't have enough information about how the cars were doing in real life in 2019 to be able to go in and adjust them. And it's, you know, I've speculated, I've wondered about that. Like, why doesn't Codemasters release F1 2019 as an example on the weekend of the first race of the 2019 season? Wouldn't that be awesome if we could do every single race with the real teams? Wouldn't that be cool? Well, yes and no. Yes and no. And I've also wondered why they don't essentially release a patch every Tuesday or Wednesday after a race that has the real finishing order for the real drivers and the real teams. I mean, it's a cool idea, but I don't think it could work. And the reason I don't think it could work is because, you know, what does that do about your time, right? Like, if you're a second faster than the Ferrari and you're in a Williams because of the way you have the AI set, you know what I mean? There's just no way to reconcile it, because you're trying to reconcile too much of real life with your gaming weekend. I don't think it could ever work, but I think it'd be cool if it was somehow magically, like, sort of slotting your race into the real race weekend. It couldn't happen. Couldn't happen. Nice idea though. But I have wondered, like, why don't they do that, you know, so we can run the full season with the other teams, if not interacting with them, then at least on the same calendar. And what I realized is because if they release the game too soon, they have zero information. They may not even have the final specs that Formula One has determined for the cars, right? They have to give it a few weeks, a couple of months after the season has started for the game to be accurate. Okay, so why not take it all the way in the other direction and release the 2019 game after the season is completely over? After you have all the information, all the lap times, everything. Because then you're releasing F1 2019 in the fall of 2019. There's barely any 2019 left. So I think what Codemasters is doing, even though it may not seem like it at first blush, I feel like the solution they've come up with to release the game somewhat after the season has started, but well before the season has ended, I think that's a good compromise. And I think that does work, and it makes sense to me now that they do it that way. So, you know, it's not like, I guess Madden releases before the season starts, but you already know where the players are going to be for the most part. And then Madden can also, you know, for things like cuts and trades, they can fix that in a patch. but that's beginning to overlap with the fantasy football sort of take on things, where it's so responsive, it's so reactive, and so many things are happening in real time. But you're just talking about people, as far as injuries and things like that. So it is what it is. But I continue to be impressed with the F1 franchise. And I know people say it's not a sim, it's just an arcade game. I don't see it that way. I find it to be a very, very challenging and very realistic sim, and I really do enjoy it. However, having dipped a toe in Race Room yesterday, I think that may be where I spend my weekend, or part of it. So we'll see how that goes. And what else? That's about it. Yeah, that's about it. Now I'm going to be relocating my race rig, my gaming rig, in this condo. I'm actually going to have use of an office on the other side of the property, and I'm going to be moving things in there. And when I do, I may have enough room for, man, I don't know if I want to get a new big, like the Thrustmaster Hottest. I don't know if I want to go that big. At the moment, I have a good flight stick, but it's not great, and it doesn't have separate throttle or anything. But I also don't know if I want to spend $500 on... Are we getting off here? We are getting off here, okay. I don't know if I want to spend $500 on a Hottest flight stick. But I do want to bring some flight sim to the channel. And we'll see how that goes. I've got DCS. I don't have any DLC for DCS. I've got, is it Rise of Flight? Yeah, I've got the World War I flight sim. And then, what's the other one? I've got a World War II as well. Can't remember the name of it offhand. But I've got World War I, World War II, and then I've got DCS, which is various eras. It's essentially World War II all the way through the modern era. So I would like to bring some flight sim to the channel. Now, I mean, there's always X-Plane, which is not a combat flight simulator. It's just a flying simulator. And part of me thinks, nah, there's no place for that on the channel. And then another part of me thinks, of course there is. It's no different than driving a truck or driving a train. It's very chill. Moment, concentrating. It's very chill. It's very realistic. So we'll see. Maybe that's a possibility. Stop sign here. Over here. Right over here. Here we go. So that's a possibility. We could do X-Plane, and I guess Microsoft is bringing back Flight Simulator, but it's going to be completely state-of-the-art and, you know what I'm saying? Good to go. Now, what fascinates me about that is realizing what a journey that sim has taken. Microsoft developed it back in the day, and then they licensed it to somebody else, but Microsoft was still involved. Is that right? And then Microsoft sort of abandoned it, and that other developer had it for a while, and then that other developer abandoned it, and then it was never really open source, but it sort of was. It was just a labor of love, and the community kept it going. And now there's a Steam edition, which means somebody owns it, because somebody get paid. And now it sounds like Microsoft is going to take it over again. So who knows, man? Who knows? I don't know. But that was my go-to flight sim back in the day. It was always really, really good. I'm curious to see what Microsoft does with it. On the one hand, Microsoft is in many ways responsible for a lot of gaming as we know it today can be attributed to Microsoft, and things that they did from, say, 1985 to about 2000, right? And then, on the other hand, you can say Microsoft is a horrible company that ruins everything they touch. So, you know what I mean? Could go either way. Could go either way. I'm so old, I remember when Windows was an operating system. Oh yeah, true story. Yeah, before Windows was a data collection tool that just monitors everything you do and sells it to advertisers. Yeah, before it did that, it was actually a system to run your computer, and it did it pretty well too. So times change, things evolve, And we'll see if Microsoft is, I mean, it's a different company. Microsoft is a different company than it was 30 years ago. So we'll see if they still have any kind of magic when it comes to developing games, or, you know, any type of ability to innovate or make any type of meaningful contribution to the gaming landscape. We'll see. We'll see. I don't think much of Microsoft, but at the same time, I do have to respect that they are a company that knows how to make money, and very often the way that you make money is by doing something well. So it could be that their foray back into the flight sim world will be just absolutely tip-top. We'll see. Right, and I don't think we have too far to go. Sonata. Yeah, I don't think we have too far to go. So we'll get this. We got one more crossing to make, do we not? Yeah, we're going to go right across and right into the port town, or just outside the port town in Greece, and get this thing dropped off. And then we will pick it up from there next episode and head down to that little island. I'm really looking forward to that. And then from there we've got to turn around and come back. We got to come back across Greece and back to Italy. And I guess we'll just go back up the Italian mainland. And then, look, you want to go back to Reims? You want to go back to Reims? Because we've tried to make a loop around Europe several times. And I believe we've done all the pieces of it. I know we've gone down to southwestern France into Spain. We've gone all the way up through the UK. We've gone to Iceland. We've gone across Scandinavia to the North Cape. We've gone into Russia. We've gone down through Eastern... Oh, dear. Okay. It seems like no matter how quickly I'm getting on the brakes, that it's never quite quick enough. All right. We came down through Eastern Europe. We weren't running pro mods, so we didn't go out into Bulgaria and Moldova, but we did that before, did we not? I feel like we did that in another trip. So essentially, we've hit all the parts of Europe that we wanted to hit. We've just hit them in various patches rather than in one loop. But I feel like we've been on the road for a long time. I feel like it might be time to head back to Reims and sort of reassess. Oh, this is cool. What's this up here in front of us? Looks like a power plant of some kind. Beautiful. And as always, I have no idea if this is pro mods or base game. Could be either, but that looks fantastic. See how close we get to this thing. See how good a look at this thing we get. Trying to get it hauled down here. Really? Oh yeah, I guess that makes sense. Because our crossing from Sicily to the mainland was really not a very long trip. So yeah, that would make sense that we didn't sleep very well. Man, our frame rate, I've been so pleased with our frame rate past few episodes, and this time we are really taking a beating. We do not have a great frame rate. Interesting. Okay. I mean, the only thing that's different is this truck. So that could be it. Now, the truck itself, the bulk of the truck itself is the RJL Scania, which I've never had a frame rate problem with. But then we do have that funky box on the back, and then we've got a bit of a funky trailer. And we got a lot of lights running too. There are lights all over this thing, so could be a lot of different things. Right around here. Right around here. Right around here. Are we at the port? I believe we are. I hope we are, because we need to get some sleep. We need to get some sleep. Oh, that's beautiful with the train passing in front of the sunset. Love it. We get fast pass here. Can I fast pass right through here? Game, what say you? Don't make me back up a dolly trailer. Whew. Lucky us. Through here. Yeah, I hope we get to... Hope we get to a port pretty soon. Now we can sleep here. Let's take a look. How far till we have to sleep? An hour and 6 minutes. And where is... Oh, we still got a ways to go. You want to pull in and sleep here? I think maybe we should. Yeah, I think maybe we should. Now, do you want to call it an episode here, or do you want to? Do you want to drive on and get to Greece? I think it's been long enough.
I'll find it.
All right. Yeah, I think we've been. We're at least 30 minutes, and we really do need to sleep. And I've gotten lucky several times in the past few episodes. So let's do this. Let's pull right in here. See if it gives us a trigger. It does. Fantastic. So we'll pull right in here. Get us in neutral. Set the brake. Turn this off. Let's take a look outside and see what we get for a screenshot. Fantastic. Beautiful. Let's stop right here. We'll pick it up from here next week and head into Greece. Folks, thanks for stopping back to check out The Portable Gamer. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Euro Truck Simulator 2. And we'll see you next time. Take care now.